I never liked camping alone, but that night I didn't have a choice. My friends bailed last minute, and I wasn't about to waste the permit I'd secured months in advance. The plan was simple: a quiet weekend in the woods, just me, my tent, and the sounds of nature. By the time I finished setting up, the sun had already dipped behind the trees, and the familiar chill of the forest crept in. The fire crackled softly, offering the only comfort against the thickening darkness. At first, the solitude was peaceful. Then the noises started. At around midnight, I heard footsteps crunching leaves just beyond my campsite. I froze, holding my breath. It could have been a deer, maybe a raccoon. But the steps were slow, deliberate. I turned off my flashlight, listening hard. Silence. Then, zip. The unmistakable sound of a tent zipper. My blood ran cold. I was inside my tent. That meant someone, or something, had just unzipped another tent nearby. But I was alone. I fumbled for my knife, my pulse hammering in my ears. I forced myself to peek out. The fire had dimmed to embers casting weak orange light. And then I saw it. A tent. Another tent, just 20 feet from mine. I swear it hadn't been there before. The flap was open, black inside, like a mouth gaping in the night. I swallowed hard, my body paralyzed between fight and flight. Had someone set up next to me while I wasn't looking? No, that was impossible. I'd been here the whole time. A whisper. It came from inside the tent. A rasping, barely human voice. "Come inside." I stumbled back, heart in my throat. My flashlight flickered as I aimed it at the tent. Empty. No sleeping bag, no gear, no sign of life. Just an open tent that hadn't been there before. I didn't sleep. I sat up, knife in hand, waiting for sunrise. The tent never disappeared, never moved. It just sat there, open, waiting. At dawn, I finally got the courage to check inside. It was empty, except for a single used sleeping bag, still warm. I grabbed my gear and ran. When I got back to the ranger station, I told them about the tent. The ranger frowned, shaking his head. "There's no campsite booked there," he said. "No one else was supposed to be out there last night." He walked me to my car, reassuring me it was probably just a lost camper. But as I drove away, I glanced in my rearview mirror. The ranger was staring after me, his face pale. His radio crackled, and just before I turned the corner, I swear I heard him say, "It's back again. The empty tent, third time this year."
I don't know how I made it out. I don't know why I'm alive. I shouldn't be. We were just looking for a quiet weekend away. Me, Jake, Lauren, and Tom. The plan was simple: camp, drink, tell ghost stories, and sleep under the stars. Instead, I spent the last 6 hours running for my life. It started with the chanting. It was sometime past midnight, and the fire was burning low. Lauren was already asleep in her tent. Jake and Tom were talking about some stupid horror movie when I heard it. Low voices humming in unison just beyond the tree line. At first, I thought I imagined it. The wind? An animal? But then it grew louder. The rhythm unmistakable, crawling through the darkness toward us. Jake turned, frowning. "What the hell is that?" We listened. The chanting swelled, guttural and ancient, like a prayer that had no beginning or end. And then we saw them. Figures emerged between the trees, clothed in ragged brown robes. Their faces were hidden behind masks, carved from wood, shaped like deer skulls and twisted human expressions. One of them lifted a torch. Another pointed straight at us. Jake shot to his feet. "Hey! Who the fuck?" A sharp whistle rang through the night, and then they were running. At us. I didn't think. I grabbed Lauren's arm and yanked her from the tent as she screamed. Tom was already sprinting for the trees. Jake tried to fight. He grabbed the hatchet by the fire and swung it as one of them lunged. The cultist barely flinched. There was a flash of silver, a curved blade catching the firelight, and then Jake crumpled. Lauren shrieked. I dragged her, my body moving on instinct, my brain not fully understanding what had just happened. I heard Tom crashing through the woods, panting, cursing. We ran. Branches clawed at my face. The night swallowed us whole. I don't know how long we ran before I heard the screaming. Lauren! I turned in time to see them drag her down, hands curling over her mouth, her body vanishing into the dark. I should have helped. I should have done something. But I didn't. I ran. And now I'm alone. The forest is endless, stretching in all directions. The chanting follows me, whispers in the wind, circling, hunting. I know they're close. I can feel them watching. I stumble into a clearing, gasping for breath. In the middle stands an altar, an ancient stone slab, slick with something dark, something fresh. Jake's body is there. His chest has been opened, his ribs cracked apart like a butterfly knife. Symbols have been carved into his flesh, words I don't understand. His eyes are wide, frozen in terror. I gag, stumbling back. A dry voice speaks behind me. The woods must be fed. First turn. They are waiting. A circle of them, masks grinning, torches hissing. One steps forward, tilting their head. Their voice is almost gentle. "You ran far." I clutch the knife I stole from Jake's body. I know it won't matter. The leader raises a hand. The others close in. Then, I hear it. A roar. It's Tom. He comes crashing from the trees like a demon out of hell, swinging a burning branch, knocking one of the robed figures to the ground. "Run!" he screams. I don't hesitate. I bolt. Branches whip past me. I hear shouting, footsteps pounding behind me, but I don't stop. I don't look back. Then, the trees break. I stumble into the road, headlights blinding me. A truck skids to a stop, horn blaring. I throw myself at the door, screaming. The driver barely has time to react before I'm climbing in, slamming the lock down. In the rearview mirror, I see them standing at the tree line, just watching. The driver stammers something, but I don't answer. I just whisper 2 words, my throat raw. "Drive. Now." The truck peels away, leaving the cult behind. I made it out. But the worst part? I know they're still out there, and they know my face.